non-small cell lung cancer diagnosis often lands like a total restructuring of one's entire world. Yet for Robin Tim So, a practitioner with over 4 decades of clinical experience in acupuncture, it became the catalyst for a profound shift in how we understand the bridge between medical intervention and the human spirit. In 2020, Robin transitioned from being the practitioner to being the patient, a move that forced a deep interrogation of what it actually means to support a body under siege. While many approaches focus almost exclusively on the pathology, the attacking of the disease, Robin's journey suggests that true recovery requires an equal focus on the person living through that pathology. It's a perspective that doesn't choose between conventional and classical medicine, but insists on a synthesis that includes nervous system regulation, emotional honesty, and the cultivation of meaning. We're looking at why the body listens to the life we lead and how grounding ourselves in presence can change the biological environment in which healing occurs.
It's a powerful shift in perspective because we've become so accustomed to the war metaphor for cancer. Everything is about the fight, the battle, the offensive. But Robin's approach suggests that while the medical team manages the clinical front, there's an internal front that's often neglected. When you look at the research, like a 2021 study published in Science Translational Medicine, it shows that stress hormones like norepinephrine can actually wake up dormant cancer cells by triggering a chain reaction in immune cells. This confirms that the nervous system isn't just a passenger, it's a primary driver of the internal environment. Robin's work sits right in that space, helping people move out of that constant fight or flight state and into a state where the body is actually capable of restoration.
The phrase Robin uses, "the body listens to the life we are living," is quite striking. It moves away from the idea of the body as a machine that's simply broken and needs fixing. But for someone in the middle of a stage 4 diagnosis, the sheer weight of fear and uncertainty makes returning to life feel like a massive task. How does one actually begin to regulate a nervous system that's been hijacked by a terminal diagnosis?
It starts with the acknowledgement that fear is a physiological event, not just a feeling. In classical Chinese medicine, which Robin has practiced for over 44 years, there's no separation between the shen, the spirit or mind, and the physical organs. When the mind is unsettled, the qi or vital energy becomes scattered or blocked. Robin uses acupuncture not just for symptom relief, but as a way to anchor the nervous system. Clinical guidelines from the Society for Integrative Oncology and ASCO actually support this, recommending acupuncture for managing cancer-related pain and anxiety because it stimulates the release of neurotransmitters like dopamine and endorphins. These chemicals are the body's natural way of saying, it's safe now, which is the first step in moving from a state of shutdown back into a state of openness.
It's interesting that you mentioned safety, because a cancer diagnosis is the ultimate threat to safety. If the nervous system's stuck in a freeze or fight response, it seems logical that the immune system wouldn't be functioning at its peak. But I wonder about the meaning aspect Robin talks about. It sounds a bit abstract when you're dealing with something as concrete as tumours and chemotherapy. How does finding meaning translate into a practical tool for someone in clinical treatment?
It's actually quite practical when you look at it through the lens of survivorship. The National Cancer Institute defines a survivor as anyone from the moment of diagnosis through the rest of life. Robin's point is that if you lose your sense of self, if you become just a diagnosis, the body remains in a state of high alert. Reconnecting to meaning is about reclaiming agency. It's asking, who am I outside of this illness? Research into the CHIME framework, which stands for connectedness, hope, identity, meaning, and empowerment, has shown that these factors are critical for personal recovery. When a patient feels they have a purpose, their stress response tends to dampen. Robin helps people look at their relationships, their inner life, and their daily rhythms to find those small anchors of meaning that make life feel worth living, even amidst the treatment.
So it's not about ignoring the cancer, but about expanding the container of the person's life so the cancer isn't the only thing in it. Robin mentioned working with conventional medicine alongside things like fasting and movement. That sounds like a very high wire act of discernment. How does a patient decide what to listen to when they're being bombarded with advice from every direction?
Discernment is the key word there. Robin emphasizes that he isn't providing medical advice or a magic answer. Instead, he's helping people become grounded and present so they can make those choices from a place of clarity rather than panic. For example, the use of fasting or specific lifestyle shifts needs to be integrated with one's clinical oncology plan. There's a lot of emerging data on things like fast mimicking diets during chemotherapy, but it requires a very regulated system to handle those interventions. If you're constantly overwhelmed, you can't listen to your body's signals. Robin's 44 years in the clinic have taught him that the most powerful shift is often when a person says, "I can breathe again." That's not a metaphor. It's the physical manifestation of the diaphragm relaxing and the nervous system shifting into the parasympathetic branch.
It's almost as if he's acting as a bridge between the clinical coldness of a hospital and the messy human reality of the patient. There's a certain irony in a stage 4 survivor saying, "I stayed open." Most people would want to close down to protect themselves. What does that openness actually look like in practice for someone who is facing their own mortality?
It looks like emotional honesty. It's the willingness to sit with the fear rather than just trying to positive think your way out of it. Robin's philosophy, healing comes with open feeling, suggests that when we suppress the difficult emotions, we create further tension in the body. In Chinese medicine, this is often seen as liver qi stagnation, a physical tightening that can lead to further health issues. By being emotionally honest, you're allowing that energy to move. It's not about being perfect or doing healing right. It's about consistency. It's the daily practice of returning to yourself, checking in with your nervous system, and staying connected to what matters. Robin's own remission wasn't a result of perfection, but of a persistent, humble return to life.
And that return to life seems to be what he facilitates for others now. He's not promising a cure, which is an important distinction, but he is offering a framework for whole-person recovery. For the person who feels lost in the medical system, what is the first step toward this kind of regulation?
The first step is often just recognizing that you are more than your pathology. Robin's message is you are not just a diagnosis. Practically, that might mean starting with something as small as nervous system regulation, learning how to settle the mind so the body can follow. When the mind settles, the heart rate variability often improves, and as the 2026 research from the Cleveland Clinic notes, this allows the body to begin regulating its own neurochemicals more effectively. It's about creating the best possible internal conditions for the external medical treatments to work. It's supportive, it's human, and it's deeply rooted in the idea that our inner life is not separate from our biological health.
It's a perspective that brings the person back into the center of the treatment room, reminding us that while medicine treats the disease, it's the human being who does the healing. Robin Tim So's journey from 1980, when he started his first practice, to his own stage 4 diagnosis in 2020, underscores a fundamental truth. The body is not just a biological site, but a living record of our connection to ourselves and the world. By integrating the technical precision of acupuncture with the nuanced work of emotional regulation and meaning-making, we see a path that doesn't just aim for survival, but for a genuine reconnection to life itself. It's a reminder that even in the most profound uncertainty, there is a way to remain present, grounded, and open to the intelligence of our own recovery.
It's about finding that calm in the center of the storm. If you found this perspective on the intersection of meaning and medicine valuable, consider sharing this conversation with someone who might be navigating their own journey toward recovery.